Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Lebanon City Council Candidates Forum. My name is Marty Hubble. I will be the MC this evening. We have 5 candidates running for 3 spots to begin their term here in December for a 4-year term. We have 4 candidates that are with us tonight. How this event will work, each candidate will have 90 seconds to provide some information to you as to why you should vote for them in our upcoming election. We will then begin a question and answer session, and that will be followed by a 2-minute closing for each of the candidates. We're going to start off with our opening statements. Ms. Eggers, would you please start us off?
Thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening. My name is Kristen Eggers, and for those of you who might have heard me a long time ago, you may know me as Kristen D, as that was my maiden name. I was born and raised here, and I am raising my family of 4 here as well. I'm currently in the office manager for my family's small business, and I'm also a small business owner myself. I was appointed to council by my fellow council members approximately 2 years ago in January, and I have been honored to serve my city since then, and I look forward to the opportunity to serve for 4 more years.
Thank you very much. Mayor Messer.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Chamber. Thank you, Judge, for honoring us with your presence. I have been serving the city of Lebanon for 12 years now, and my name is Mark Messer. I am the mayor of Lebanon. During that time, we've been able to eliminate millions of dollars of debt. We've saved millions in interest payments. We call our operations funds to 6-month reserve for charity.
And we estimate another 4% increase this year. We've facilitated the addition of hundreds, if not 1,000, new jobs in the city. We've increased our resurfacing efforts by 4-fold since I began. Just in the next 2 years alone, we'll be spending $20 million on resurfacing efforts. We've invested millions of dollars in our waterways, or in our water treatment, and added hundreds of acres to our parkland. And lastly, we've added millions of dollars to our electrical department, and we plan on spending $12 million over the next couple years to build out our solar programs. So with all that, I look forward to talking with you tonight more about the direction of our city, and I look forward to being with everybody on the board tonight.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Norris.
Good evening. I'm Jim Norris. I certainly thank those who've planned our evening chamber, and I wish all the best to all the candidates for City Council. How about some good news? You know, get away from the TV and all that's swirling, and think in terms of our town, of which I have been in and amongst you all for about 65 years. Educated here in our public schools, and I have worked here over 37 years teaching in the Lebanon city schools. So as we look around and see the positives that we do see, certainly evidence in our recent festivals, seeing a busy downtown, even the old Kroger parking lots coming to life. A lot of asphalt being thrown around as well, and many improvements taking place. My grandkids are involved in many activities that I enjoy supporting them in. There was a full parking lot at the community center last night, the district's center, civic center, and for the choir concert and other activities. Now, who will guide us in the future is, as has been said, what we're considering here this evening.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Smith.
Well, first I'd like to thank the chamber as well as everybody that's in attendance and those watching at home. My name is Brighton Smith, and I am one of your Lebanon City Council members. And I'm humbly asking for your vote this November so that I can continue to protect, promote, and preserve Lebanon. I want to continue promoting our conservative family values, whether that is defending the lives of those who cannot defend themselves or defending the rights of those who can. I also want to protect your tax dollars by keeping our government accountable to you. And finally, I also want to preserve our city's historic charm and character. Essentially, I want to keep Lebanon, Lebanon. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We will begin with our questions. Councilwoman Eggers, you are first up. The first question is, the City of Lebanon has a 0.5% levy increase on income for the support of public safety services and full-time emergency fire and emergency medical services on the ballot this fall. Do you support this proposed tax, and why?
I am in 100% support of this new levy and have voted all along the way as we have been making that decision. We feel pretty confident that we've come up with a very creative solution that can be acceptable for all of our citizens. The full-time staff is really necessary for the safety of our citizens, and unfortunately, the part-time staffing model is just something we've determined doesn't work. The part-time staff are not available for working in our community, and when we do have them, we often spend a lot of taxpayer dollars to train them, and then they go to another department where they can work full-time. So in essence, we are spending money to train them for those other departments, which really doesn't make a lot of sense anymore for us to do that. So I'd like for us to be able to keep that funding here. One of the things that's really important to us as we were considering this is how do we fairly distribute the burden of the levy among our residents and non-residents. So with this new model, many of our residents who are on a fixed income will actually end up paying less because they will not have an increase in their property taxes. And it also gives an opportunity for non-residents who do work in our community to share some of that burden through the increase in the property tax.
Thank you. Mayor Messer, do you support the proposed tax, and why?
Yeah, absolutely. I think everyone's going to hear 4 people that are supporting this this funding measure. I voted for it twice now, once at City Council and then once this morning. And we are a growing community, and our department needs a full-time staff. The way to do that is through we thought as a board the way to do that is with this funding measure. What this does is it cuts your property taxes by 3 mills. That's very important for our seniors and our fixed income citizens, and it will generate the money needed to support a full-time department. And we do that primarily because our goal is excellence. Our goal is excellence in public service, and if we don't have a full-time department, we cannot provide excellence. I feel that it's beneficial, and it is a very as far as funding the department from the general fund, it will be able to capture income from our influx of workers as they come into the city that we're not currently capturing. So if you have any questions about that, you can reach out to any of us as we discuss this until the election. I would highly advise everybody to vote for it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Norris, do you support the proposed tax, and why?
Safety, I don't think there's any higher purpose of city governing. On December 17th, 2004, Don and I came home to our house in flames. I can distinctly remember within 5 minutes, I think it was less than 5 minutes, I heard a siren, and we had a very effective and well carried out response to our fire and protected the neighbors' homes. I chaired the last fire levy. I know the millage was getting higher. Our fire levies have been supported enthusiastically by our citizens. The goal in issue 16 is to have full-time fire fighters and other emergency responders. As has been explained, the best way to guarantee that is to address the funding. I I certainly support the intent of this action by council. I was not a part of the options they considered with regard to raising funds, but I certainly will leave you with this thought. I've witnessed the value of a first-rate fire department, which we certainly have, and I support the intent of the levy.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Smith, do you support the proposed tax and why?
Yes, I do, but let me explain two things. One is that this is an opportunity for our voters to decide what type of fire and EMS services we'll have. Second, the income tax increase is going to be paired with that 3 mil property tax reduction. Now, on principle, I am someone who is not a fan of property taxes because property taxes are taxes you pay every year on property that you already own. So any opportunity to reduce property taxes, I'm going to be a fan of. Now, let's look at the need that has brought us to this point. We're a full-time city with a part-time fire department. That has to change. We have only 8 full-time firefighters and 4 part-time firefighters serving our entire city across 2 stations. Last year alone, they serviced 6,000 calls, which equals out to be about 16 a day. And that is on top of having to deal with losing talent to neighboring municipalities that provide more full-time employment opportunities. So yes, I am in support of this, but the reason why is because it gives our voters an opportunity to choose what type of service they'll have, and it's critically paired with that 3 mil property tax reduction.
Thank you, sir. Second question, we'll start with you, Mayor Messer. As I discussed, this is a term of 4 years. If elected, what are 3 goals that you have for the city of Lebanon over that term?
So I've grossly over-prepared in my notes, and I'm trying to slam everything into 90 seconds. So I'm going to try and do this, but I want to get to my last point here, which is energy. But I want to start here with succession planning. Over the next 5 years, we've got a lot of our key leadership that's going to be retiring. So we need to have conservative-led leadership in city council to bring in the executive team that's going to lead our city into the future. Who we have now has done an incredible job, and moving forward, we're going to have the right personnel to move us through these upcoming years. Next is our road resurfacing and replacement. We have to stay aggressive with that. We fell behind in years past. We are catching up. We need to stay aggressive with that. We need to stay aggressive with our grant writing. Lastly, I'm passionate about energy, as weird as that is. I want to give you just a couple notes here. The state of Ohio average for 700 kilowatts per month for a customer is $140. Duke is $129. The city of Lebanon is $86 a month per 750 kilowatt hours per month. It is very important that we continue to maintain and grow our energy department because it's a benefit to our citizens, and the goal is to push those projects forward. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Norris, what are 3 goals that you would have for the city of Lebanon over the next 4 years?
Thank you. The first thing I looked at and read again in the consideration of answering this question is the city charter on page 7, in which the actions of council are specifically laid out. The first one I would draw our attention to again is safety. Our police department is funded from the general fund, and the fire department is mostly addressed through the fire levy, which we have currently, talking about modifying that here this evening. The second thought I would have is infrastructure. I was on council for 16 years, 01 to 2017. Certainly the issue of roads comes up first. I can remember being joked about by President Bush 43 when he visited the city. He said, "Mayor, fix those potholes." And but it's something we're always mindful of. I agree that road maintenance has been improved through action previous councils took. Funding goes, it's still underfunded. A constant concern, and one will have to balance with regard to the discussions we'll have in the future. The quality of life, recreation, promoting business throughout the city are certainly things to always be considerate of, and I will be working hard to address those in my deliberations with the council members.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Smith, what are 3 goals that you would have for the city of Lebanon over the next 4 years?
Well, I'm very consistent and straightforward. Again, it would simply be to promote, protect, and preserve our community. On the promotion front, like I said before, I want to promote our shared conservative family values within our community. And we've already had a lot of successes in that front. We are the only city in the state of Ohio that is a sanctuary city for life. We're also only the 2nd city in the state of Ohio that allows concealed carry within our council meetings, because we don't feel that you should have to disarm yourself to take part in a public forum. Now, as far as protection of taxpayer funds goes, I will continue to champion transparency and accountability within our local government. And again, we've had many successes on that front. We have a yearly balanced budget, and we've also paid down a lot of our debt early. And then third, with preserving our historic charm and character, this city was founded in 1802, making us roughly a year older than the state of Ohio. So whether you're talking about the Beetle Cabin or the Golden Lamb, we have a lot of history that should be preserved, and we've done that through things like our facade renovation grants that we provide. So those are my 3 things that I would continue to focus on as I have.
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman Eggers, what are 3 goals that you would have for the city over the next 4 years?
The first goal that I would have goes along with our fire levy, and that is to ensure adequate staffing, funding, and resources and buildings for our fire and police department. As many of you know, we have a new fire department, which was many years overdue, and I hope that the same won't happen for the police department. That'll be something that they're going to be in need of over the next few years, and that's something that, while it's a cost to our taxpayers, it is something that's very important so that they can be as efficient as possible in their job and provide for safety. The second thing would be that, along with the energy costs, like Mayor Messer mentioned, we are adding a solar field, which is wonderful. It's another way for us to generate some of our own electricity and keep those costs down. And we are already so low in that compared to all the other areas around us that have had huge increases, and we haven't had to do that. So one of my goals would be for us to continue to look for more opportunities to generate our own electricity to continue to keep those costs down for our citizens. And lastly, I'd like to continue to find ways to support and grow our current businesses and entice new businesses to come into our area. And not only does this provide more employment opportunities for our residents, but also more revenue for our city.
Thank you very much. We will move on to our next question. Mr. Norris, we will start with you. Managed growth is something that we hear a lot about. Doesn't matter where you go in the city. And the city and the county have been facing that for a long time. If elected, what areas of collaboration are necessary to address those issues? And what should citizens be concerned about going into the future?
Having been a part of the Lebanon community, as I said, for over 60 years, I've been aware of, as we all are now, we sit between Dayton and Cincinnati as these 2 cities have grown toward us. Turtle Creek Township, the city of Lebanon have been in the crosshairs, if you will, of our own evolvement, as we have seen take place just a few miles to the south in Mason, in Springboro, and coming south from Centerville. My experience in 37 years of teaching, and I worked on many of the school levies, and I'm a property tax payer. I'm very keenly aware of the expenses involved in schooling and providing education. I was watching at the council meeting when developers were rejoicing at our western expansion discussions, I privately groaned with regard to what I know is coming with regard to schooling those kids and increasing the size of our schools, which are already full. So I call for, and will be working very hard for collaboration of those, I'll address this a little bit more later, involved in these discussions, and very concerned that we have buy-in from any major development, more so than we are doing currently with regard to impact of that reality and the cost it will be to the property tax owner in schooling.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Smith, same question. What areas of collaboration are necessary to address managed population growth, and what should our citizens be concerned about?
Well, one of the primary concerns is going to be just strain on our infrastructure, whether it's roads and traffic congestion, or our schools, as was mentioned, our public utilities. But the solution has to be looked at in kind of two categories. You have public land and private land. Now, I served on our city's Board of Zoning Appeals, and I am a huge proponent of private property rights. However, there are things that we can do to influence private property development, such as making sure that we maintain and enforce good, high-quality, strict building and zoning codes. Because the truth is that good, high-quality development takes time and requires thoughtfulness. And so that's a way that we can have a say in private property development. And then, of course, if you're dealing with public lands, that's a much easier proposition because we have much more direct say in what occurs and who that land may be sold to or not sold to.
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman Eggers, same question regarding managed population growth.
Yes, this is definitely a difficult scenario for our city and county due to the continual need for more housing and more businesses. And of course, it must be done at a manageable pace and with high standards, as Mr. Smith has mentioned. Some of the collaborations that are necessary, of course, with our schools to make sure that they continue to be properly funded for the increase in students. We also coordinate with our utility and road departments, our fire and police, to make sure that as the businesses are growing and we are increasing our residents, that we can provide appropriate services to those individuals. We additionally sometimes need to collaborate with perhaps the state or the county as far as road improvements or changes to the roads that are necessary. As far as how our citizens should be, or what they should be concerned about, I know for me and other parents, they may be concerned about the fact that as their children grow older, they'd like them to be able to live here, and would that housing be available? So it's not just growth for the sake of growth, but we have to manage that, and we want that housing to be available for them. And while we want affordable housing, as that's another concern, our developers do have to make a profit when they make these developments, and one of our other things that we have to manage is the rental to owner rates. So while those may be concerns of our citizens, I do believe that we are on a very good path with that, and we have been working very hard to carefully manage that growth for the future.
Thank you very much. Mayor Messer, same question.
Absolutely. I'm going to break from the pack a little bit here. I don't think that the citizens should really be worried about our growth. My opinion on this is if you're not growing, you're dying. We're in a position where we are not dying. We are growing, and we've done the hard work in our code to make sure that people that come into the city to develop the city are going to be paying into that system. So it is self-actuating at that point. Once we do that, we will collaborate with our county and our state partners with the goal to enhance the lives of our citizens, to bring stability to our tax base, and to protect our historical charm. Our mission, our city's mission, is to provide excellence in public service, creating a vibrant and healthy community, physically, socially, and economically. So our goal as a city is to collaborate with partners that get on board with that. I feel like if we're going to be growing, it's going to be managed well at this point.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, we will move on to our next question, Councilman Smith. In your opinion, what are the biggest challenges the city of Lebanon faces in the short term and the long term? If elected, how would you address each?
Well, growth, as has been discussed already, but also investment in our infrastructure. And we've done a lot in that regard already. We, in the past year, have spent about $10 million upgrading and improving our roads. And there's still a lot more to be done, and we will continue to do that. But even looking at later on this month, we'll be breaking ground on an investment of $13 million in a new solar array. Now, that's a lot of money. However, it will save our ratepayers $27 million over the next 35 years, which equals to be about $770,000 every year. And even on smaller ticket items such as the replacement of water mains throughout our community, the Glosser Road waste treatment plant that is helping to keep waste out of the Miami River. These are important investments that we need to make regardless of what happens with growth in our community. We have to make sure that our infrastructure is modernized.
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman Eggers, same question. What are the biggest challenges the city of Lebanon faces in the short term and the long term, and how would you address each if elected?
In the short term, I believe our biggest challenge is funding for the fire department, which of course we've mentioned. We have a really creative plan that we were all very excited about when we developed it, and we are all actively supporting that, and I hope that our residents will as well. In the long term, I think one of the biggest challenges that we face is sort of a little different, which is maintaining our small town family values. There are larger cities around us who would like us to be like them, and they would like to spread their values which really don't work for us. So I think that it's important for us, and I plan to myself, to continue to support policies that not only protect those values, but also continue to provide for the safety and protection of the individual freedoms for our citizens.
Thank you. Mayor Messer, same question.
Short term is our fire funding. We've talked a lot about that already, but I'm just going to double tap that and say, please vote for issue 16. Share that you voted for it and get one of your friends to vote for it as well. That's important for our city. Long term, it is. I got to go back to the growth thing. We must know when to say no. There is a never-ending list of developers that want to come in and annex hundreds of acres and put up high-density housing. With our comprehensive plan, we have developed a plan of attack where we will finish out our city the best way. And when I say we, I don't mean me. I don't mean our city staff. I mean we took 12 months with the citizens of Lebanon to develop this comprehensive plan that dives deep into not only our current zoning and our current property, but our annexable property on our borders. So I feel as if that is that's an important piece as we finish out our city. And then lastly, downtown is our masterpiece. I mean, that is the thing that drives tourism in our community. And a thoughtful design of 63 as we lead from 75 to 71 is going to be paramount in how global truck traffic enters and exits out of our community. I also think, I'm going to go over, I'm sorry. I also think the 6348 interchange is a very important piece that we need to look at as a city and rework that completely. So sorry for going over, but those are my 2 cents there.
Everybody gets a little.
A little bit.
Nobody gets a lot. Remember that. Mr. Norris, same question. What are the biggest issues and challenges, in your opinion, that the city faces short-term and long-term, and how would you address each?
I'm going to continue to emphasize my concern with regard to the city's evolvement in the 21st century. The view north, south, east, and west is very similar to when I was growing up in the 60s, just up the road on 48 in Turtle Creek subdivision. That land between the old high school and the subdivision is still very much the same way it was, as are many other vantage points around town. Lebanon has remained then and benefited from all that and its quaintness and its small town feeling on the eastern frontier, if you will. As you look east, there's what's out there, kind of a thing. Every time I pass the Black Barn, every time I go to the Black Barn, I see those signs out there on 63. I can appreciate the comments that have been made with regard to quality, development, and evolvement. I will be insisting on, as a council member, that we have, and I call for periodic discussion with entities that have been mentioned and the school board as we consider any significant development, because with that comes property tax concerns to school kids.
Thank you, sir. We do solicit questions from our citizens, and this question was submitted by a Mr. Gliotti. Councilwoman Eggers, I'll start with you. The city of Lebanon is a unique place to live. I think we would all agree with that. What are 3 things that you are thankful for as a resident?
Well, having lived here for a long time, and I'm a lady, I won't state my age, there's a lot to be thankful for. First of all, I'm thankful to be able to have the ability to raise my own family in a safe and family and friendly environment. Secondly, there's a strong sense of community. I'm sure many of you know you cannot go to Kroger or Walmart or a restaurant or even pump your gas and not probably see somebody that you know. And I think there's a lot of comfort in that and seeing those individuals around. And another part of that sense of community is when there's an individual who perhaps faces a personal crisis or there is a natural disaster or any of those types of things, our community rallies around those individuals and comes together and supports them. You know, whether it be an individual or a school or an organization, that's something that we'll see a lot. And I think that's a really beautiful thing to see. We also take a lot of pride in the history of our city and caring for the protection of the historic features of our downtown. And I love that when people come here, they say how beautiful our town is. And you can go to other historic towns that are nearby, and they won't look as lovely. So one of the things that we do is just maintaining those great zoning standards that keep our downtown looking as beautiful as it is.
Thank you. Mayor Messer, what are 3 things that you are thankful for as a City of Lebanon resident?
I thank you for that question, sir. Our town is unique and it needs to be protected. I am thankful for our strong faith-based community. There is, it's amazing. Like if a need comes across my desk, I can call any of a dozen pastors in our community and that need will be eliminated immediately. I don't know if that's the way in other communities, but I find it an absolute blessing. I'm gonna shout out to City Gate Church specifically. I called them 2 weeks ago. There was an address that had some code enforcement violations. They could not get it due to the fact of money and hardship. I called City Gate. They had someone out there the next day. I just find that absolutely incredible, and that's one thing I'm very thankful for. Next, I'm thankful for the security that this community and this county provides. We have dozens of dedicated professionals that look out for us every day, and I thank them for what they do and the hard work that they have to go through every day. And lastly, I'm thankful for the people here. I'm thankful to serve a people that truly values liberty and that truly values the principles that liberty rests on, which is faith, freedom, and virtue. It's an honor to be able to serve a constituency like that. And I won't add on a third thing.
Mr. Norris, same question.
In my hardworking retirement years, I'm an Uber driver. I'm in Cincinnati and Dayton a lot. And I certainly see otherwise to what's being described up here to you. First thing I thought about with regard to a unique place to live is that there's deer in my subdivision. I'm mindful of, as we all are in this great weather, is seeing, and I mentioned earlier, our successful festivals, but people moving about, the train whistle, train at the crossing, caregiving, and the caregiving attitude in our schools, our churches, community agencies, I certainly agree is so prevalent, and it's a great thing to be a part of, that Don and I are a part of. The vibrant downtown, again, there's any number of places that I drive in and see that's not the case. Our North Broadway development that's going on is very insightful, and I know we are very happy with regard to what we see happening there. I had one more thought here that I wanted to sneak in. The Mulberry Plaza, the sign there reminds us of our many activities that go on socially downtown. All things that come to mind. Thank you.
Councilman Smith, same question. What are 3 things that you are thankful for as a City of Lebanon resident?
Well, I'm thankful for the involvement of our community, not just events like this, but even my wife and I, as we go to restaurants downtown or walk around downtown, people will approach me and ask questions. They're always paying attention to what's going on in our community, and they actually care. And that feedback is important for me as a council member because I'm a public servant. I'm here to serve you, and getting that information from you helps me do my job better. I also truly appreciate how welcoming our community is. There are not many places left in this country where you go to a restaurant and the waitresses all call you hun, where, you know, in the summertime, kids are riding their bikes down the street, you wave at them, they wave back. That's sadly getting lost in this country over time. But we still have that here, and I truly, truly appreciate it. And then also, as we've talked about a lot, the historic charm that we have here. I am a big lover of early American history, and I absolutely adore walking through our community. I never get tired of all the beautiful historic homes, the architecture, taking that all in. It's a magical place to live and raise a family and also serve. So those would be my 3.
Thank you, sir. Mayor Messer, we will move on to our next question. If elected, name one small project or initiative that is near and dear to your heart, that you support, that may not, everybody may not know about, but you will advocate for as a member of council.
I'll name 3. How about that?
You're allowed to do that too.
Yeah. So I've got 3. So yeah, it's small projects or initiatives that you support. The first one isn't necessarily small, but I want to make sure that everybody knows that we are working on a splash pad. We are in conversations right now about that. I'm not making any promises, but I just want everybody to know that we are working on it, and I support that concept for our community. Second is a small little project that we're working on this upcoming budget cycle, which is a skate park for our kids. It won't be grandiose at all, but it will be a fun place for them to play and to enjoy themselves in our park systems. And then lastly, I really liked the butterfly sculpture down by the train station, and I 100% support more beautiful sculptures. There we go. Those are my 3.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Norris, same question.
Individual initiatives are so good to hear about. The Optimist Club comes to mind with regard to the fantastic amount of money that they not only raise through the Blues Fest and other means and other ways, but how much they give away is, and I hear that at the senior awards night at the high school, and their scholarship work. Kiwanis, I just heard about with regard to a marketing effort they were making with regard to their breakfast. And our service clubs are certainly to be commended for the Country Music Fest for their efforts to not only make money but to put it into the community. I was on council very supportive of civic donations over my 16 years, 4 terms in office. And so I'm not sure about the current status and the ways that discussion takes place, but that's certainly something that I did support and do support. The museum and others who promote the culture and cultural expressions in the community, I have a very, very special place in my heart for those. And then the Lebanon Alumni Association, I can tell you with regard to our efforts to give alums, kids, scholarship money is only one example of many groups that work so hard. You don't just go to a senior awards ceremony in the spring and see what the community is doing for our kids. And anything I can do to help further those I have been doing, I would like to continue to be doing.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Smith, what is one small project or initiative that you would support?
Well, it isn't necessarily a small project, but it's being done in small parts. It is our interconnected network of biking and hiking trails. Ultimately, once it is finished and realized, it will help improve the health of our community, quality of life. It'll be a benefit to our local businesses, as well as helping to ease traffic and congestion. But a big bonus in the fact that it's done in small pieces is that we get community feedback. And I'm actually very happy to say that a part of that feedback had to do with the part of the trail on North Broadway, just outside. And I can, with a lot of pleasure, let everybody know that the bike trail will be moved from the roadway to the sidewalk, and we will reclaim that lane of traffic. I know we're all enthusiastic, but that would be something that, again, it's not necessarily flashy because it's being done in stages, but ultimately I think it has huge benefits for our community.
Thank you. Councilwoman Eggers, same question. What is the one small project or initiative that you would support?
This is actually something that I have already started to work on. It's a kind of a work in progress, but I feel that I think we're all aware that there are mental health concerns, especially for the youth in our community. Unfortunately, due to the shutdowns of schools and things beyond that, our kids were, due to COVID, our kids were out of school. They were not in communication with other individuals, and it was a really hard time. I mean, even for my own children. Even without that, there are already concerns for children and the mental health in the community. And so the city has set aside an amount of funding available for mental health initiatives. And within the city and within our schools, there's a lot of training for staff and beyond for how to handle children who have difficulties or how to handle specific crisis events. What I'm working on specifically, though, is I would like there to be some courses available to parents, grandparents, caregivers, and staff, anyone really who works with children on a regular basis. And these would not be courses that are, hey, if you have a difficult kid. This is for everybody. I would love it to be trauma-informed because those practices are really what's best for all children and help either the kids who truly do come from hard places or the kids who maybe are really excelling and doing well in school. And I think we take out some of the concern that a parent might have of, if I go to this class, you know, it looks like my kid is poorly behaving in school, and that won't be the case. It'll be for everyone. And I believe that when parents have more tools available to help their children, they can also be more confident in those abilities, which will be better for their mental health as well.
Thank you. We will move on to our final question. Mr. Norris, we're going to start with you. What community groups are you involved in, and why are you involved with them?
Thank you. I was involved in the Main Street organization, which promoted business throughout the city, not just downtown, but certainly concern for all aspects of the city. Those efforts have been combined with the chamber currently. I have been a board member and a chair for very long. of the Solutions Counseling and Recovery Center as a contract agency of the Mental Health Board. Certainly have a feeling with regard to addressing the needs of families and school-aged kids. I've been on that board for we were just having an appreciation dinner last night. We were going around saying how long we'd been a board member. People started laughing when they came to me because I've been one for somewhere between 40 and 45 years. So feel very strongly with regard to their work. I've been on the Warren County Historical Society. I've been a trustee for over 30 years and have seen that evolve as it has, and we know it today with regard to its fine facility and hard decisions it's had to make with regard to its future here recently, but still very, very dedicated to the furthering of Lebanon's historical and future interests. Thank you.
Councilman Smith, same question. What community groups are you actively involved in and why?
Well, I'm involved with several, but two that I want to highlight are my membership on the Chambers board that's actually hosting tonight. As a small business owner and entrepreneur myself, I truly understand the importance of making sure that we promote our local area businesses and our economy, because those are basically the lifeblood of our community. And then I'm also on the board of directors for our Warren County Republican Party. I do not hide the fact that I am a very strong constitutional conservative Republican. And I feel that it's part of my duty and my responsibility to make sure that I am preserving our country's founding principles, not just for myself and us, but also for future generations. So those are two very important groups that I, give a lot of my time to and want to highlight.
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman Eggers, same question.
The first organization that I'm involved in is my neighborhood HOA, and this came about because I know HOAs get a bad rep, but it came about for a really positive reason. During COVID, when restaurants were not open and activities were stopping, I saw this as an opportunity to build some community within my neighborhood and beyond, and to create some fun events. So I started scheduling food trucks for our neighborhood, and this kind of grew into a life of its own. So we had neighbors coming, we had people from other cities coming, people coming from all over. So we were able to do a couple of things there. One was we were able to support that small business that was struggling because they had nowhere else to go. And secondly, we were able to really build community there. Many of my neighbors talked about how much fun they had getting to know each other, and those friendships have lasted over the past several years. We had many who were maybe elderly and didn't feel comfortable eating, even when the restaurants were open. So they were able to get together with friends, have a dinner on their porch, and things like that. So they really enjoyed that. So then they encouraged me to join our HOA and have a little more help in our neighborhood. Secondly, I am a volunteer for Safe on Main. I was a little tired of watching those around me suffer through abuse, and I wanted to be able to help survivors and also help support the mission of Safe on Main, which is also prevention. And lastly, while it's not official, I do coordinate a lot of fundraising and donation drive opportunities to support a lot of our local nonprofit organizations.
Thank you. Mayor Messer, same question to you. What community groups are you actively involved in and why?
So actively right now, I've had to step away from a couple of the boards that I was on prior to me becoming mayor. That's taking up a lot more time than I initially expected. But I'm the mayor of the city of Lebanon. I'm on Planning Commission, so that meets every month as well. I'm also on the advisory board for the Warren County Health District. And then I serve in my church's guest experience and the nursery, believe it or not. Young mothers drop their children off to me a couple times a month, and I watch them in the nursery. So those are my main things that I'm involved in right now.
Thank you very much. This concludes our question and answer session, and we are now going to move on to a closing statement, which is sort of the candidate's last plea to the voters. So we will start. I think we're starting with you, Councilman Smith.
Well, as I said, my name is Brighton Smith, and I am one of your city council members. I hope that through this discussion, I've been able to earn your vote to remain on city council. And again, as I said, I'm very consistent and very deliberate and direct in that I want to continue to promote, protect, and preserve Lebanon. This is a very, very special community, and we have something very special here that we have to take care of. And in my efforts, as I mentioned, I want to promote our conservative family values. I want to protect your tax dollars because it's your money, it's not ours. And I want to promote our historic charm and character because that's one of the main things that draws people into our community and sets us apart. So again, I hope that I have earned your vote. I do not take it for granted. That's why I carefully say that I hope I earned your vote during this discussion. And I thank all of you again for being here and tuning in at home. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman Eggers.
First of all, I'd like to thank the Chamber and all the guests who are here or watching online for the opportunity to answer questions and to speak with you this evening. I wanted to share just a few last things. My parents both moved here when they were very young, and they and my grandparents both had the opportunity to leave their footprints and their legacy around the city. It was always fun to ride around with my dad and him point out the buildings that he built or the signs that he designed or that he laid every brick on those signs in different places around town. So those are things that are very special to me and to my family. And when you're raising a family here where you've lived for so long, it's so special to be able to have your kids go to the same schools where you went and where your family went, maybe even have some of the same teachers, and go to the restaurants like the ice cream parlor for a special treat after school, or maybe it's the Golden Lamb when you've had a special event. And those are the kind of things that I want to make sure that our community is here for those kids in the future and be able to do those things. It's been an honor and a blessing to serve my city for the past almost 2 years. And when I make decisions, I want you to know that I have my children and your children's future in mind because I want our city to stay safe for them and to continue to have those same values. Excuse me. And I hope that when my children grow up, they will be proud of the legacy that I, along with my fellow council members, leave for them. I would be honored to have your vote and to serve you for 4 more years.
Thank you very much. Mayor Messer.
Thank everyone for joining us tonight. Thank you for the Chamber. Thank you, Judge, for being with us. I'm running to serve the city of Lebanon. I'm committed to a vibrant, fiscally responsible, business-friendly, and family-friendly community. I think if we do that, we're not only going to impact Ohio, we're going to impact the world. Lebanon is poised for its most exciting years yet, and I think during our conversation tonight, you've realized the importance of steady, conservative leadership during these dynamic times. It's crucial that we can continue to invest in ourselves and self-sufficiency, especially in the face of external challenges that we have no control over. I look forward to serving you in years to come. Please vote for Mark Messer on November 7th. I'm endorsed by the GOP Warren County. I am the only candidate in Ohio that was endorsed by the Buckeye Firearms Association. I'm very proud of that. I'm also endorsed by Warren County Right to Life. So I appreciate your consideration. I'd be honored to have your vote.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Norris.
Thank you. I was going to say something with regard to Lebanon's voter participation rate in the last 2 elections for city council, but instead I'm going to be as positive as I can and say that your vote is your voice, and I certainly am hoping that you will take this opportunity in this great country and our wonderful city to voice your opinion with regard to a number of issues. Vote early. I just did. It takes 10 minutes. It's very easy to do. They're well staffed there. You're in and out at the Board of Elections in no time. You're going to find 2 state issues. You're going to find 3 local tax issues, as well as our race that's being addressed here this evening. I'm James Norris for City Council on Facebook. I would like to say also that I have no labels on my signs. I'm not going to say anything about labels right now. This is a nonpartisan election. I am pro-Lebanon. And I encourage you to seek out and look at page 7 of the city charter and the actions of council and what council is charged with dealing with. And I say on my sign, that's business, infrastructure, and safety. And I was a 4-term councilman. That's what we dealt with primarily in those years. I would point out also that I did apply for the 3 openings that have existed the last 2 terms and was not chosen to be a council person. But I certainly am ready to go with regard to leadership, and I have the experience to do that. And thank you for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Norris, and thank you to all of our candidates. This concludes our session with our Lebanon City Council candidates. We're going to take a brief recess, which is what we call it in my world, and we will come back here at 7 o'clock for our session with our school board candidates.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brett. Good luck.
Thanks, sir. Come in.
to some of you. Welcome back. We are now on to the 4 candidates for 3 spots to be a member of the Board of Education for the Lebanon City School District. We will start with a 90-second opening statement from each candidate. We will then go into the question and answer session, and we will follow that up with a 2-minute closing statement. We will begin alphabetically with Michelle Berry. Go ahead and provide the voters with your opening statement, please.
Hello, good evening. Thank you so much for being here this evening. Thank you to the Chamber also for hosting this event. I am pleased and privileged to live here in Lebanon. We've been here for 17 years, and I have 2 children that have graduated from Lebanon City Schools and received a good education there. They are thriving in college, which is exciting. And I'm a parent, I'm a mother. I support education. I believe that that is important to one's success in life. And so it's just exciting to be able to run for school board. And I look forward to sharing my thoughts with you today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Kim Cope.
Good evening. I'm Kim Cope, and I want to thank the Lebanon Area Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event. I'm married to my husband, Mike Cope. We've been married for 29 years, so almost the big 30. We have 4 children that are all graduates of Lebanon City Schools. We've lived in Lebanon for over 20 years. For the past 16 years, we've lived in McBurney. A little bit about myself. I have a Bachelor of Arts in Elementary Education from Grove City College in Pennsylvania. I have my Master's in Education from the University of Dayton. I also have a principal license from Indiana Wesleyan University. I currently hold a professional licensure from the Ohio Department of Education in kindergarten through 8th grade and a current principal license. I'm a former adjunct professor from Sinclair Community College, and I taught in the early childhood department there. Currently, I am at Lebanon Christian Schools, and I am the lead principal there. I have seen education from many different perspectives, and each of my children took a slightly different path, but it all ended up at Lebanon Junior High and High School. I've seen various educational opportunities that are available with our school, and I want to continue to see our district excel academically. I want our current and future students to continue to have the same opportunities as my children did, but also to continue to grow as a district to offer even more opportunities in the future. I love our schools and all our district has meant to my family and to so many others. I want to stand for excellence in education, wise stewardship of taxpayer dollars. I want Lebanon Schools to continue to be the district that my own 4 children had the opportunity to attend.
Thank you. Michael Lane.
Again, as people have said, I thank the Chamber for putting on tonight's event. I was born and raised in Warren County. My family moved to Lebanon City School District in 2017, and I have personally lived in Warren County for almost 50 of my 53 years. My wife, Amy, and I chose Lebanon City Schools due to the opportunities a district the size of Lebanon could provide. This, combined with a quality education and small town feel, made the Lebanon area the right choice for us. Prior to being on the Board of Education, I was a member of the Youth Basketball Board, which gave me my first experience of being more involved in the community. In 2017, I purchased Witt's Frozen Custard in downtown Lebanon, and that was the true beginning of being more involved with the schools. This led to the desire to grow my involvement in the community and the schools. 4 years ago, I thought I could bring a unique combination of experiences to the district and decided to run. And I still believe that experience brings value today. I'm finishing my first term on the board and have had the honor to be the school board president for the last 2 years.
Thank you. Esther Banta Larson.
Good evening. I also would like to thank the Chamber. I know what it takes to put on an event like this. I've served on the Lebanon Board of Education and also the Warren County Career Board for 4 terms. And I'm asking for your vote to continue to serve. I grew up in Lebanon. My home was really built on land that has been in the family of Banta since 1796. So I definitely am very invested in this community. All except 14 years of my life has been involved in Lebanon schools. First, as a student, kindergarten through graduation, as a substitute teacher, also as a teacher for 32 years, mostly kindergarten. I was on curriculum committees. I was a member of the Lebanon Education Association and served as president in that capacity for a while. And I am honored to now be serving as a school board member. Okay, my late husband, Jim Larson, and I had 2 kids, Nicole and Chad, who are Lebanon grads. And as a grandmother, I have 4 grandchildren that are also Lebanon alumni and 1 more that's a sophomore. And I hope to be on the stage when she graduates to give her diploma. I'm also a great-grandmother of 5, and I'd be happy if they got in Lebanon School District. I have enjoyed being on the school board. I value our educational system, and I want to be involved in helping it continue to be strong. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now move to our question and answer session. We will start alphabetically and then rotate throughout. We will start with Michelle Berry. The City of Lebanon will be voting on a renewal of a tax for the benefit of the Lebanon City School District for the purpose of permanent improvements. Do you support the proposed tax levy and why?
Thank you for that question. I recently met with Isaac Severs to discuss the levy, and he provided some information to me about the permanent improvement and how that the funds will be used to replace the roof at the high school and do some other maintenance around the schools. And this is not a new levy. It will not increase taxes. It has been renewed 5 times in the last 25 years. And I do support the levy. I believe it's important to have healthy environments for children to be growing in and learning in. And as anyone who owns a house, you know that you need to keep up with that upkeep. And I feel like these funds will be used in the appropriate manner. Thank you.
Thank you. Kim Cope, same question. Do you support the proposed tax levy and why?
I do support the renewal of the permanent improvement levy, which is issue 6. This is not a new tax for our schools. It was originally voted in 1998. It has been renewed 5 times in the last 25 years. The district has never sought to increase its millage each time it's run. Permanent improvement levies can only be used for capital improvements and expenditures. Some examples would be maintenance and repairs, heating and air conditioning, Chromebooks and other technology for students and teachers, security improvements, and bus purchases. This money is needed to continue to operate our schools at their current levels. This money does not go for salaries or benefits of city employees, but is strictly an improvement levy to continue to operate the school buildings and our school facilities at their current level.
Thank you. Mr. Lane, same question. Do you support the proposed tax levy and why?
So yes, and to sound somewhat redundant, the current version of the permanent improvement levy has been in existence for 25 years. The residents of Lebanon City Schools have been supporting a version of the permanent improvement levy since the mid-1970s. This money is used to replace and or maintain longer use items. We have found ways to stretch the dollars we are currently receiving by delaying some of the repairs and replacements until enough of the funds open up to cover the expense. A good example of this is the roof at the high school. Without these funds, we would not have had the resources to replace the roof, which had exceeded its life expectancy. I'm going to divert just a little bit and say I would also like to voice my support for the Warren County Career Center bond issue. Lebanon is the top feeder school district into the center. The educational programs offered at the Career Center are life-changing for many of the students residing in our district. We often hear about the need for more career tech, but our current Career Center is at capacity, turning away over 100 students each year. The bond issue on the ballot is a way to provide these same opportunities for more students and adults seeking a new trade or certification.
Thank you, sir. Esther Banta Larson, do you support the proposed tax levy and why?
I certainly do support it. I could say ditto to everything they've said because it's the same information. We have had a permanent improvement levy since 1978 in some capacity. The same 2 mills has been for the last 25 years. And our community has been very gracious to continue to support that every time. It is not for salaries and benefits, and it's not allowed to be used for that. It is for things that will be around for 5 years or more. Like you said, like the HVAC system, improving it, buying new buses, which was vital. We definitely needed to do that. Repairing the parking lots. If you've hit some of the potholes, you're probably glad that that's being done. Safety and security. Just like our homes, things break down, things wear out, and we need the funds there to make sure we keep everything in good condition. The district would find it very difficult with less revenue, and we really hope and appreciate the support of the community.
Thank you. Our second question will begin with Kim Cope. The City of Lebanon's population is increasing. As a school board member, what can you do to ensure that the schools grow consistently with our increase in population?
The City of Lebanon's population is increasing, but I believe through a partnership with our city, we'll be able to manage the growth. Our school superintendent, Isaac Severs, and our treasurer, Karen Irvin, are regularly meeting with our city leaders to communicate the school district's needs and potential plans. This has developed a positive working relationship between the city and the school district. The relationship will be essential as we look to the future and try to manage growth together. Neither entity can operate independently and manage growth well, so we must all come together to develop a unified plan.
Thank you. Michael Lane, same question.
Yes, the district recently had a population study done to help us plan for future growth. The study showed moderate growth in the school-age residents, but many of us on the board feel the findings were too conservative given the number of approved neighborhoods within the district. We would continue to monitor growth on an annual basis or even more frequently. We do have some space in our school buildings to allow for some moderate growth, but need to prepare if these numbers continue to rise.
Thank you. Esther Banta Larson, same question. What would you do to ensure that our schools grow at the same rate as our population?
Well, they're right. We've done a study, and we sort of have disagreed with it because we see all the developments going on. But the district must stay aware of the new housing developments and also the industry that can affect the growth and revenue to our schools. Our superintendent and treasurer and business manager are meeting with the city and the county to stay apprised of that additional developments. We must be informed about abatements and ask for impact fees to help with this growth. Analyzing this possible growth from the developments makes it possible to adjust our strategic plan to add more staff or consider new construction if it's needed at the time. Holding on to the land where Louisa Wright and Holbrook were located will allow for areas of new construction when the time is needed. Thank you.
Thank you. Michelle Berry, same question.
Yes, I do. I think that reviewing the current plan that has been passed by the school board, I think that from attending the school board meetings, they are aware that the district is growing. In fact, Mr. Severs has indicated that there could be some actually rental dwellings, which could increase school population beyond even just single family dwellings. And so we need to be ready to provide an education, buildings and educations for those students. And I think that that starts with what has already been done, the survey, finding out what the population increase is expected, and also then working with the community members, as far as the city council, the treasurer, the superintendent, the school board, working together to come up and with a vision plan to determine what needs to happen, how we need to grow. I've heard from teachers that the elementary school is at capacity, very close to capacity, and it would be nice to have some additional room to develop there. So I think it's just looking at the past, seeing what has been done, gathering information, and then together with the other members of the school board and the superintendent, coming up with a vision for our future development of our schools.
Thank you. Michael Lane, we will start our third question with you. In your opinion, what are the biggest challenges faced by the City of Lebanon schools? And if elected, what would you do to address those concerns?
Sure. So I have three. State funding continues to be a big issue for public schools. Many of the decisions coming from the state level over the past few years have not resolved or have even hurt the funding issues. The burden on the local taxpayers is growing, and the longer the state chooses not to address the issue, the more of the share of the cost will impact the local residents. I think as a board, we need to be more vocal and with our state representatives. I think Mr. Severs does a great job with that. We need to be involved as well. I also believe discipline within the schools is a growing issue. This is not isolated to Lebanon City Schools. Since COVID, student behavior has not returned to prior levels. As a district, we need to continue to look for ways to alleviate some of the burden from our teachers. The teachers and staff need to be allowed to focus more on the educational process, and the behavior is a distraction to achieving the best experience for others. And lastly, I feel the public schools are often unsubstantiated targets of political rhetoric from all directions. We must continue to do what is best for our students while wading through the facts versus fiction of some that will do to justify their cause and or personal agendas. This is not a position someone should have if they believe they can please everyone all of the time, or if they're only interested in pleasing a small contingent within the district.
Thank you, Esther Banta Larson. Same question. What do you think is the biggest challenge, or what are the biggest challenges faced by our school system, and what would you do to address those?
Okay. Well, the biggest challenge continues to be revenue and funding, and also knowing that we're going to have the growth that we expect in the next few years. Funding schools is becoming more and more challenging. The state of Ohio has decreased the funding to schools. That puts more of a burden on the local taxpayers and causes school districts to ask for increased local revenue more quickly than we might otherwise have had to do. I think we need to continue to research the effects of the universal voucher program and what impact it might have on the public school system, and work with our state representatives and make them aware of our concerns. Another challenge is the effect that COVID has had on our students socially, academically, and emotionally. Meeting the needs of our students is vital. It's put extra stress and burden on our staff, and we need to give them the support and resources that they need so they can continue their excellent teaching instruction. This could be mental health programs, more support staff, professional development, and especially expressing our concern and appreciation for what they do for us every day. Thank you.
Thank you. Michelle Berry, same question.
I see one of our largest issues being the character of our students. And I don't believe that. I believe that that needs to start. I see some improvement with some of the reflective issues that I guess the school is trying to address that. But it is concerning when you hear that students aren't able to go to WITS without an adult present. And they aren't welcome into some businesses or downtown areas. In junior high, you should be able to go places and be self-controlled. And I believe that character development is one of the issues that needs to be addressed. I'm excited to hear that there is the program that's being offered in the schools on Fridays at Bowman. At Bowman. That are addressing character issues. The other item I would address is our just making sure that our curriculum is matching the values of the citizens here. We are a conservative community, and I have personally seen information come home to me from my children's interaction at school that would not, I think, be appreciated by the majority of the taxpayers and the people that live in our community.
Thank you, Kim Cope. You were the last person to answer this question. In your opinion, what are the biggest challenges faced by the City of Lebanon schools, and if elected, what would you do to address those concerns?
First, I think the district report card needs to improve. I believe our current leadership is on the right path, and I know the processes that they have initiated will bring positive changes that we need. Test scores are not the only measure of a good student or school, but unfortunately, this is how we measure our district's strengths and weaknesses. We need to continue to increase staff that will help our students' achievement and provide resources to teachers so that they are able to be the most effective educators they can be. Secondly, I believe we as a school board and as a district must continue to expand our safety and security measures. This does require some additional resources, but every student, teacher, and parent must feel safe when they're in our schools or attending school events. Our partnership with the Lebanon City Police Department to provide school resource officers has been a positive relationship, but as funding and staffing allows, I would like to see our district with the goal of a school resource officer in every building. This will take time and additional funding, but I believe this is a priority as we continue to build a positive school community. Third, the potential growth of our district, as we've said before, is in the near future. The school must work together with our community to manage the growth. Growth is inevitable, but there are proper planning and partnerships with the City of Lebanon we can do to help our schools grow at a healthy rate, but not put our district in a financial bind.
Thank you. Esther Banta Larson, we will start our next question with you. This question was submitted by a member of our community, a Mr. Gliotti. What would you do as a board member to make yourself more visible and involved in the schools?
Well, my family probably thinks, gee, Mom, are you ever going to stay home? But I think it's important to be at the events that the schools put on. I am always there to support the kids. I'm always there to talk with the public if they want to take time to talk. I do attend as many events as I possibly can, whether it's sports like basketball, baseball, football, volleyball, or I enjoy the plays, the musicals. I like to go to the choir concerts, whether it's elementary or high school, junior high. Same way with the instrumental arts, the art show, the pumpkin drop at Donovan, attending the Veterans Day programs, signing days at the high school when the students decide which college they're going to, reading to children at any of the buildings. Probably I'm the happiest if I get to go into a classroom when I'm invited. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle Berry. What would you do as a board member to make yourself more visible and involved in the school system?
I think that Mr. Sievers has set a good example with meeting with the public to discuss levies. I think that doing that regularly, at least 3 times a year, to hear from the constituents, what their interests are, what their concerns are, listening, being available is important, in addition to the meetings that are held monthly. The other items I think that are important is responding to people who reach out to you with questions by email or phone within 48 hours is very important, and that would be something that I would strive to do as well. Recognizing that there are certain, I guess, policies and procedures that do need to be followed and how things are addressed, but I just think that it's important to be that person that connects the community with the school.
Thank you. Kim Cobb, same question. What would you do to make yourself more visible in our schools?
I enjoy attending as many school events as my schedule allows. Over the past 10 years, I've had all 4 of my children that have been involved in countless sporting events. I have attended men's and women's soccer games, track and cross-country meets, basketball, lacrosse games, and most recently, you could find me supporting our men's and women's warrior wrestling program. I've had the opportunity to attend multiple choir concerts over the years as my children and their friends were members of the various choirs that Lebanon School offers. I'll continue to support the music department and our athletic department as much as I possibly can. Other areas where I will continue to be visible are to attend our youth chamber events, career experience, end of course presentations, and quarterly community builder events. These are some of the highlights of our school, and many people aren't even aware that those opportunities exist. By being visible and involved in our schools, school board members continue to build a positive relationship in our Warrior community.
Thank you. Michelle Berry, we will start our next question with you.
I have an answer.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Lane.
That's all right.
You corrected me.
I can just say ditto, right? No. I believe I have been very visible over the last 4 years and even longer. I have attended multiple performances and contests throughout my time on the board. Even though the participants probably have no idea you are in attendance, it is important to show and appreciate the efforts of the students and staff. And I can tell you, on a side note, it feels pretty good when someone messages you and says, hey, I saw you at this event today. It's just something you don't expect them to do, but when they recognize you're there, I think that feels pretty good. I've also spent time in several classrooms talking about owning a small business, being on the board, and other aspects of my professional career. When a resident of the district contacts me, I respond with the answer or the fact that I am forwarding on to the expert who would have the answer, like the superintendent or the treasurer. And since prior to my time on the board, we have hosted fundraisers, donated or sponsored many groups with ties to the school district. This is something we take great pride in and will continue to do so as long as we have the means.
Thank you, sir, and thank you for that answer. Now, Michelle Berry, I will start with you on our next question. Why have you become a candidate for the Board of Education, and what qualifications or unique considerations make you an especially good candidate?
First of all, I do have a heart for children. I've spent a lot of time investing in American Heritage Girls as a troop shepherd, a troop coordinator, a unit leader. I've also, LifeWise is the other program that I was thinking of earlier that has started with character building. I'm volunteering there on Fridays. So this passion that I have for children, for character building, because character is something that you will take with you for life. I believe Lebanon is doing an excellent job with educating our students, and I also have a desire for students to have an opportunity for quality education. As I said earlier, I do feel like there is a large opportunity for character building. I think that also, I have experience with different types of education because my children are like Kim's, like all of ours, are very different and have different skills and abilities. I've homeschooled. I've also been involved with public school, online public school, and also a private school. So being involved with those different types of schooling systems, I think we need to learn to be flexible in order to be competitive in the new environment.
Thank you. Kim Cope, why have you become a candidate, and what makes you an especially good candidate?
I've become a school board candidate because my 4 children had an amazing experience at Lebanon, and I want to see our school continue to provide positive experiences for students both in and out of the classroom. The family memories of sporting events, concerts, and award ceremonies are precious. I want families of Lebanon to continue to have the same positive outcomes my family has experienced over the years. As a resident of this community for over 20 years, I believe a strong public school is part of a strong community. A strong community brings families to our city. I want to see our families continue to move to Lebanon to send their children to our schools because of the positive reputation that we've worked so hard to build. Whether it's through athletics, music, art, or any of our other programs, students need to feel as if they belong, and keeping our schools strong will promote that sense of belonging throughout our community. Our current board members have a variety of backgrounds. I'm an educator. We have a couple of educators. We have many different backgrounds. But as both an educator and a parent, I'm able to view many issues from various viewpoints and make informed decisions. I want to continue to be a part of the team that keeps Lebanon schools strong.
Thank you. Michael Lane, same question. What makes you a good candidate for school board?
Thank you. Yeah, I ran 4 years ago to help improve the communication at a district level, among other things. And I believe we have come a long way. Board meetings are now streamed, more information is available on the district website, and information mailed out to the residents of the district is more structured. Both of our children attend Lebanon City schools. Alexa is a senior and will graduate this May after attending Lebanon schools for K through 12. Logan is an 8th grader, and we expect for him to do the same. I am very pleased with their experience at LCS and the opportunities the district has provided to them and their peers. I believe having that connection to the schools brings a higher level of appreciation to the role. I also bring a unique blend of experience to the role with 6 years of classroom experience and now 25 years in the private sector, including the last 3 in senior management. My private sector experience has provided me with responsibilities for balance sheets, process improvement, and expense reduction. My classroom experience allows me to understand and appreciate the distractions our staff faces while educating our students. I want what is best for all of our students and will continue to be active in seeing this through.
Thank you, sir. Esther Banta Larson, what makes you a good candidate for the school board?
Well, as I stated earlier, all but 14 years of my life, I've been involved with Lebanon City Schools. I probably do bleed maroon and white. My 16 years on the school board and also on the Warren County Career Center board certainly gives me the experience to continue in that capacity. I taught for 32 years. Lebanon was my life. I truly believe in the teachers and the staff and the administration, and I want to continue to support that. My dad was a school board member, and I just found out a year ago that my grandfather was also a school board member, so I guess it runs in the family. I want to make the district better for kids. I have no hidden agendas. I want to make the best education for our children in this community, and I just want to give back to this wonderful town that I grew up in. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Cope, we will move on to you for our next question. As I indicated earlier, we do submit requests to members of our community for questions. Some are coherent, some are not. But we did get a lot of comments that some people in our community have told us they do not understand how the school levies work and how school finances are managed. How would you both improve the communication process and simplifies these issues to our citizens?
Well, first, I must admit, when I came on the board 4 years ago, I did not understand a whole lot about levies either, and I've had such an education over the past 4 years. I believe education is the key to understanding, and how we communicate this information with the community needs to be through diverse methods. I think we have, over the last couple of years, Karen Irvin, our treasurer, and Isaac Severs, our superintendent, have done an amazing job of increasing communication regarding levies to families and community members in the district. They've held information sessions around the community, open to residents of the district. Graphics have been produced and distributed on social media to try to simplify the levy information for voters. Each month, in our board meetings, our treasurer gives a detailed view of the district finances. She has at many times included definitions and explanations for her financial updates to help the community understand and to help many of us board members understand. If community members are saying they do not understand, it's our job to continue to increase communication, education, and diversify our methods of distributing necessary information. Regardless of how good of a job we think we're doing, we need to do better. Community understanding is key to community support as we grow as a district.
Thank you. Michael Lane, same question. How would you both improve the communication process and simplify these issues to our citizens?
Sure. I believe there's more information provided and available today than in the past. With the meetings now being streamed and posted online, I would encourage all of our residents to take a few minutes to watch the meetings. There are also many resources on the district website to view what is happening in the district, along with the current financial picture. Residents can reach out to the superintendent and treasurer as well for specific questions. I know they consistently receive requests for information and respond timely. That being said, public school finance is complicated. There are many rules on how money elected can be spent, which accounts can go in and out of, and how the state calculates what each local district receives. While it is complicated, it provides assurances that the money is spent in accordance to the law and local promises. I know I've seen questions regarding the permanent improvement levy and the recently passed substitute levy around why these weren't combined. This is a perfect example of separation of accounts. The permanent improvement levy and substitute levy are two different revenue types and cannot be combined. The permanent improvement must be used to purchase and maintain longer-term items, while the substitute and other operating levies pay for day-to-day expenses like salaries and utilities.
Thank you. Esther Banta Larson, same question.
Okay, well, I certainly agree that school finances can be very confusing. When I was teaching, I never really worried about that side of it as long as I got my paycheck. So my first couple of years on the board and continue to be learning more and more about school financing and how it works. I understand how the community can get confused, but our treasurer is very open for discussion. She does a good job at our meetings of explaining our current status. We've had the county auditor come in and talk with us, and he would be another wonderful source. I'm thinking possibly maybe we should have some forums just on school finance and let communities come and ask their questions. Possibly on social media, have a question of the week, whether it's about finance or other issues with the schools. It's important that you let us know what we need for more explanation. Give us suggestions. We're open to suggestions. We want to work with the community and make sure that you really do understand where our money is being spent and why. Thank you.
Thank you. Michelle Berry, same question.
Upon preparing for this event, I had to actually do a lot of research to figure out how levies are passed and what a levy means exactly. And there are actually quite a few good information that is out there. There is the Ohio State Tax Board also has a website that explains it. But I think that the real, what would really help us to understand as community members would be to hold events at the Y possibly, or even at the auditorium, where it's just explained, help us understand what a levy is, how it's determined, how it's passed. Like Kim was saying, I know that would be a large area of learning that I would need to do. And I think that the district at the school board meetings do a really good job, the treasurer does, with explaining the current budget and where the monies are going and how we are staying on budget. So I think it's just communication is the issue. And I have to be honest, I do miss the mailer that I used to receive that was a 4-page mailer. And I know it saves the district money to not send that out, but sometimes I feel like the communication that's coming electronically is a bit overwhelming, and there's only so much time in the day. It would be nice to have something to set down and come back to.
Thank you. Michael Lane, we will start our final question with you. What community groups are you actively involved in, and why are you involved with those groups?
So as a board member, I am one of the members of, along with Mr. McCutcheon, of the Community Audit Advisory Committee. It's a group of local businessmen and women that get together and talk about what the school budget looks like and planning for the future. I'm also a member of both the Lebanon Elks and Lebanon Chamber of Commerce, but admittedly I'm not as actively involved with either of those as I would like to be due to the other obligations. But both of these groups do a great service to the community through volunteerism and events around town. As mentioned previously, I was a member of the Youth Basketball Board for 6 years. I resigned from that board when elected to the school board. I felt it was best to focus on the school board and remove any perception of one group getting a louder voice in the district. I've also been active in supporting groups within the community, including many within the schools and others outside, like the Countryside YMCA, Joshua's Place, Lebanon Warrior Youth Football League, Lebanon Youth Volleyball, and Lebanon Youth Baseball, to name a few.
Thank you very much. Esther Banta Larson.
I'm involved in several things in the community. Probably the one that I'm most proud of would be the Lebanon Alumni Association, which I was very happy to help start 10 years ago. And our whole purpose is to raise scholarships for graduating seniors. This past year, we had 4 scholarships of $3,000 each for a total of $12,000. And we appreciate all the support that we've had from the community in raising those funds. Another strong interest of mine is the Miller Ecological Park. I'm a trustee for that. The original land came from my great aunt and uncle's farm, Will and Harriet Miller. So it thrills me to see the people walking and enjoying, and children playing on the sledding hill, and just enjoying being in the great outdoors. I help with the Imagination Library. I'm one of the Warren County Retired Teachers, and I'm on the Early Childhood Advisory Board at the Warren County Career Center. I also like to attend as many events at the museum. It's definitely a wonderful resource for our community, and I value everything that they do there. Thank you.
Thank you. Michelle Berry, what community groups are you actively involved in, and why are you involved with them?
Again, because I believe character is the most important quality a child can take forward. I do a lot of community service with American Heritage Girls. I've been involved with that organization for 12 years. It's a Christian, Christ-centered girl character building organization. I'm also volunteering with the Good News Club at Bowman Elementary and also at Berry. And I'm a weekly volunteer with LifeWise Academy. And I also have volunteered with the Warren County Fair and other organizations because as an American Heritage Girl, we monthly serve in our community. So I've also partnered with Family Promise recently and some other organizations, Food Pantry, visiting the elderly at the Traditions. So it's important for me to be involved and to model that for the youth that I also serve. Thank you.
Thank you. Kim Cope, what community groups are you actively involved in, and why do you support them?
In the last 5 years, I've been an active member at Countryside Church of the Nazarene. I worked with their leadership team for their youth group. I volunteered with the youth because I want to be a positive voice in their lives, and many of them need that from a positive adult influence. I've attended, as my schedule allows, the Lebanon Youth Chamber. This is a fantastic organization that brings our youth from Lebanon High School, Lebanon Christian School, and the Warren County Career Center together to help develop leadership skills. I attend many community events, like most recently Mayhem on Mulberry. This was an amazing outdoor event that was held at Bicentennial Park. It was put on by our Lebanon Warrior Wrestlers. It brought the community together and showcased our wrestling program. It's the first year for the event, but they promised to make it even bigger and better next year. It was a little chilly too, I might add. I've helped students volunteer at Matthew 25 Ministries and have seen students return from a day of service to this organization and begin to reflect on ways that they can serve their community. I hope to continue to be an active member in our community and increase my involvement. And the reason that I do all of this is because I believe that we are each put here for a purpose, and I believe service to others is one of our main goals as we are here.
Thank you. That concludes our question and answer session. Now each candidate will have 2 minutes to provide a statement to our voters as to why they should be elected to this position. We will start with Esther Bantha Larson.
Again, first I'd like to thank the Chamber and everyone involved in putting this on. I also thank you for the listening audience for taking your time to find out more about the candidates. Lebanon City Schools is a great school system, and as a public school, it's available for all students. Every child deserves to feel safe, secure, and accepted while receiving the best education possible. We have a fantastic teaching staff and a wonderful support personnel. Our administration works hard to lead our district and cares for our children. It's been a pleasure and an honor to work on the school board, and I hope to continue. Our current board works very well together. We don't always agree, and that's okay. However, in the end, we form a consensus and do what's best for kids. We listen and work together. The Board of Education is to be a nonpartisan position. The position is about educating children and not about politics. I've not taken any funds from any political source or even from friends. I will serve all people equally. Please read about all of the candidates and choose those who are involved and supportive of public schools. I've always been a warrior for kids, and I would appreciate your vote to remain on the school board. Thank you.
Thank you. Michelle Berry.
I am running for the school board because I do have a passion for children, and I also have a passion for truth that will stand the test of time. And I believe that there are ideas that are being taught in our schools that do not match the values of the families that live in the community. And I would like to see that change. I would like to see the school board address that in more direct ways than what has been happening in the past. I also do believe that public education is important, and I believe that every child has a right to a quality education. I am currently homeschooling my son because he is on an independent education plan, and the school system is unable to support him. And I know he is a bright young man. He has been diagnosed with dyslexia and also ADHD, and he is going to continue on to college. And if I were to leave him in the public school, I was told that they would not be able to provide the support that he needed. And so I personally had to make that decision to pull him out of the public school and homeschool him. I'm very proud to be able to do so. My husband sacrifices for that, and I appreciate it. As far as my other children who went to Lebanon school, they had a very positive experience. They also had the opportunity to take advantage of College Credit Plus. But I do feel that there is change that needs to happen in order to ensure that our schools' values reflect the value of the community. And I want to encourage the students to be the best person that they can be. And I think that does need to be modeled with values that are taught from the school that do match the community. Thank you.
Kim Cope.
First, I want to thank the Lebanon Area Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event. I'm thankful for the chance to get to come here this evening and share my perspective on the topics that were discussed. I'd be grateful for the opportunity to continue to serve our community if I'm reelected on the Lebanon Board of Education. I believe my educational background makes me a qualified candidate to continue to be a diverse perspective on our board. But more than my educational background, I want to remain on the Lebanon Board of Education because I believe in Lebanon schools. A strong community has a public school that thrives and provides a quality education while meeting the needs of students and families and remains true to the values of our community that it is built on. I want to continue to be a voice for families in our community. I want students in our school district to receive the highest quality education we can provide. I value our highly qualified teachers and administrators, and I want to continue to support them as a school board member. I stand for excellence in education and wise stewardship of taxpayer dollars. I want Lebanon schools to continue to be the district that my own 4 children had the opportunity to attend. Much of their success can be attributed to their teachers, coaches, and community members that poured into their lives and the lives of their classmates. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Michael Lane.
Thank you. I'd also like to thank the Chamber for putting on the event tonight, as well as the audience in the room and those watching online. In closing, I would like to say that the past 4 years provided what feels like a decade's worth of experiences. Between levies, a pandemic, and hiring of a superintendent and a treasurer, to name a few. I believe this is a challenging time for public schools, and am proud of the accomplishments of the current Board of Education. We have navigated through some difficult times and came out on the other side stronger because of it. As with a good organization, we recognize we still have work to do to continually improve what we are providing our students. I would appreciate the opportunity to serve the community for another 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I would like to thank each of our candidates for participating. To remind everyone, we have 4 candidates vying for 3 positions on the to be a member of the Board of Education for the Lebanon City School District. That is a 4-year term. Thank you again. You can clap if you're here. And that will conclude our program tonight.